Good morning students, welcome to SST So Simple tutorial. Dear students, we have seen how indispensable are political parties for the healthy functioning of representative democracy. However, political parties have been losing people's trust. All over the world, people express strong dissatisfaction with the failure of political parties to perform their functions well. This is the case in our country also. Today, we will discuss challenges to political parties. We will discuss those issues on which people are generally disappointed with the political parties. Political parties need to face and overcome these challenges in order to remain effective instruments of democracy. Let us see the challenges one by one. The first challenge is the lack of internal democracy within parties. A political party that does not respect democratic principles in its internal working cannot be expected to respect those principles in the governance of the country. It cannot be dictatorship internally and democratic in its function outside. All over the world, there is a tendency in political parties towards the concentration of power in one or few leaders at the top. Parties do not keep membership registers. Parties do not hold organizational meetings. Parties do not conduct internal elections regularly. Internal election means elections for the important party posts such as president, secretary, treasurer, etc. Parties fail to establish link with its members operating at the grassroots level. There is no discussion or consultation with ordinary members when setting the party agenda. Thus, ordinary members of the party do not get a chance to take part in the decision-making process. Thus, they do not have the means or the connections needed to influence the decisions. Parties in such a scenario work in a very secretive manner or behind the curtains with only a few members assuming important role. Since one or few leaders exercise paramount power in the party, those who disagree with the leadership find it difficult to continue in the party. Young politicians find it difficult to climb the ranks. It is therefore necessary to introduce internal democracy and accountability in the working of the political parties. Let us see the second challenge. The second challenge that the political parties face is the challenge of dynastic succession. If you understand the meaning of the term dynasty, you will get the idea of the topic itself. A dynasty is a sequence of rulers from the same family, usually in the context of a monarchical system. For example, in India, we had Nand dynasty, Mauryan dynasty, Chol dynasty, Slave dynasty, Mughal dynasty, etc. Dynastic succession means a succession of rulers from the same family or line, or a family or group that maintains power for several generations. Okay, today in India, except a few, this challenge is faced by almost all the parties. Most of the political parties, both at the national level and at the state level, are being led by a family. The top positions are always controlled by members of one family. This gives unfair advantage to people close to them or their family members. People who do not have adequate experience or popular support come to occupy positions of power. This is clearly visible during distribution of tickets during elections also. You will find senior party leaders fielding their sons, daughters or nephews in the elections. Sometimes constituencies become family constituencies. If a senior leader declines to contest elections, the obvious choice for that constituency becomes his son or daughter first. This tendency is bad. This is against the democracy. This is a hindrance for ordinary citizens who aspire to join politics. There is almost no way for an ordinary worker to rise to a top in a party. It is therefore necessary that talented individuals rise on merit and gain a space in national politics. If the Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha is to be prevented from becoming a Vansh Sabha. I hope you have understood this point. Let us then discuss next point now. The third challenge is about the growing role of money and muscle power in parties, especially during elections. Students, we have read this topic in class 9 while discussing challenges to free and fair elections. Political parties try to win elections by any means possible, so they use unfair means of bribe and force. They nominate candidates with a lot of money so that it can be spent on elections. The rich candidates or companies that fund or donate to a party usually get a say in the party decisions or policies. Sometimes parties even hire or nominate criminals as the candidates because of their influence. You already know that no party or candidate can spend more than the limit specified for them in the Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha elections. Yet we know that they spend more than the limit, making sure that they are not caught in the process. The ADR, Association of Democratic, it is an NGO working in electoral reforms. It says that the chances of a crorepati candidate with criminal background winning elections today are much higher than a candidate who is non-crorepati and law-abiding. According to the ADR, with each passing election, the number of criminals contesting elections has increased. In the present Lok Sabha, that is the 17th Lok Sabha, 233 members, which amounts to 43%, have had criminal charges against them, and 475 members have their declared assets to be more than 1 crore rupees. The growing role of money and muscle power is thus a matter to worry for all of us. The fourth challenge is that very often parties do not seem to offer a meaningful choice to the voters. Now just think, with so many parties operating before the people, how the parties are failing to offer a meaningful choice. Why do people think that the major parties are similar to each other in policies as well as in practice? In recent years, there has been a decline in the ideological differences among parties in most parts of the world. England has two major parties, Labour and the Conservatives. But the difference between these two parties is very little. They agree on fundamental aspects but differ only in details on how policies are to be framed and implemented. In our country also, the differences among the major parties, Congress and BJP, on the economic policies have reduced. Both the major parties, BJP and Congress, follow the same lines. Both of them are in favor of economic reforms. Congress started liberalization in India. Did BJP change it when it came to power? No, it did not change it. It continued with it. Any party that comes to power will work on the same lines. Every government will take steps in the interest of its people. Be it poverty alleviation programs, housing for poor, PDS system, employment generation programs, schemes for farmers, etc. Every government of whichever party it may be is bound to do all these works. Those who want really different policies have no option available to them. Sometimes people cannot even elect very different leaders either, because the same set of leaders keep shifting from one party to another. All these confuse the voters. With this, we have covered the topic of the day. I hope you have all understood it properly. As far as questions from this portion is concerned, you can always expect the question. What are the various challenges faced by political parties as a 5-mark question? You may also expect any of these challenges as a 3-mark question also. So I would suggest you to prepare a complete good answer to this question. In the next class, we will read how can parties be reformed. Till then, keep reading and have a nice time. Thank you.